Ladies and gentlemen, hello and welcome to our English news program coming to you from Canal Algérie and in today's top stories. On the occasion of the National Mujahid or War Veteran Day, the President of the Republic, Abdelmajid Tebboune, calls for preserving the collective memory in a message sent out on the occasion. A mega movie retracing the brilliant career of the North Constantine attacks hero Zirud Youssef is officially kicked off. And finally, we pay a vibrant homage to the Civil Defense and Forest Services for their matchless bravery in fighting fires in several provinces of the country. Those were today's headlines. First in our news, on the occasion of the National Mujahid Day, coinciding with the 67th anniversary of the North Constantine attacks and the 66th anniversary of the Somam Congress, the President of the Republic, Abdelmajid Tebboune, addressed a message to the Algerian people. Here is the unabridged content. Dear fellow citizens, our celebration of the National Day of the War Veteran comes as Algeria is commemorating the 60th anniversary of the restoration of national sovereignty. In the era of harnessing national capabilities and wealth to serve the Algerian people, who aspire to see Algeria of the martyrs, strong with its institutions and constitutional bodies, proud of its glories throughout the historical eras, and the sacrifices recorded in history and preserved in our collective memory that we have a duty to preserve, and we must ensure that is protected from the cunning of those who for decades have been dragging behind them their hatred for the victory of an independent and sovereign Algeria. In its eternal heroism, the double anniversary of the attacks of the north of Constantine and the holding of the Somam Congress on August 20th, 1955 and August 20th, 1956 are evidence of the deeds of a generation of free patriots who were decisive in Algeria's destiny and left behind them for people a rich legacy of freedom and glory values. As we commemorate the National Day of the War Veteran, we salute the People's National Army, the heir of the Liberation Army, with whom the Algerian people witnessed on the 5th of last July a moment of pride in their national achievements through a joyful parade expressing the nation's loyalty to the martyrs and the eternal message of November. Dear fellow citizens, with an authentic sense of patriotism, you realize how much awaits all of us on the road to ascending Algeria to the place it deserves, and you see on the field the efforts made and steps achieved to make up for the wasted time and to recover the resources that the corrupted people have taken and tampered with in order to put the country through what we have pledged before the people on the threshold of starting a development dynamic, launching initiatives and freeing up energies so that the right and fairness prevail. On this momentous national event, I reiterate that there is no place in Algeria which we are building together for practices that have damaged the people's confidence in state institutions, that the law in it deters anyone who dares to invigorate the people's property or violates the rules of honor belonging to it. At the same time, the doors are open to all ambitions and aspirations to earn in a clean and transparent climate and within the framework of the incentives and motivations provided by the state for the creation of wealth and jobs. Dear fellow citizens, it is because all of our historical days are a cause of pride, including the attacks of the north of Constantine, led by the heroic martyr Zirud Youssef and his comrades on August 20th, 1955, the holding of the Somam Congress in Ifri Uzlagan in front of the Somam Valley on August 20th, 1956, our loyalty to the righteous martyrs and their path to build an Algeria today capable of facing the challenges of the situation in its regional surroundings. Tomorrow's Algeria is keeping pace with international development. Finally, I hail and express my appreciation to my veterans brothers and sisters, to whom I wish a long, healthy life. I pay tribute alongside them to our righteous martyrs and veterans that have left us. Long live Algeria and glory to our martyrs. The Italian President Sergio Mattarella sent a message of condolences to the President of the Republic, in which he expressed his full compassion with the Algerian people following these devastating wildfires. The President of the Republic received equally a similar message from the Sahrawi President Brahim Ghali, who extended his condolences to the Algerian people following these fires, wishing the injured a swift recovery. August 20th, 1955, or the North Constantine attacks, and August 20th, 1956, the date of the holding of the Somam Congress at Ifri Uzelagan in Bjaya province, two important stages of the Algerian Revolution which enabled Algeria and Algerians to free themselves from colonialism. More details with Rania Al-Bahri.
The 67th anniversary of the North Constantine attacks, August 20, 1955, and the 66th anniversary of the Somam Congress, August 20, 1956, two symbolic dates of the glorious revolution of November 1954. These two important stages have allowed Algeria to free itself from colonialism, but also the internationalization of the Algerian cause. It was also a pivotal stage in structuring and organizing the military and political actions. The North Constantine Offensive, led in 1955 by the National Liberation Army, under the command of the matchless hero Zihad Youssef, he allowed the voice of Algerian people to resound. He totally refused the submission to the French colonizer, and had, as a result, the inclusion of the Algerian question on the agenda of the General Assembly of the UN, held in September 1955, as being a question of decolonization. The objective of this offensive was to loosen the French grip on several regions, in particular the Ouest region, surrounded by the colonial army since the outbreak of the National Liberation War. The North Constantine Offensive marked a turning point in the armed struggle, confirming the popular nature of the revolution and contributing to rallying the middle classes and political leaders to join the revolution. Indeed, from August 20, 1955, the National Liberation War witnessed a major stage, which was confirmed during the Somam Congress in Ifri Uzelagan in Erzara Mokran region in Bjaya province. That day allowed the Algerian cause and the November Revolution to have an echo in international media. The North Constantine attacks sent messages to the whole world and imposed the Algerian cause at the level of United Nations. The Somam Congress, which lasted several days, was crowned with important decisions, including the replacement of the 5 zones in force since November 1, 1954, by 6 provinces: Ores, Nemamsha, North Constantine, Kabylie region, Oran and South, subdivided into zones, regions and sectors. Another emblematic decision of the Somam Congress, the unification of the National Liberation Army at the national level, in its structure, ranks and organization under the image of a regular army. The Congress also made it possible to structure the national military revolution politically, with in particular the creation of a National Council of the Algerian Revolution, composed of 34 members, and a coordination and execution committee. In the Somam Congress, the borders of Algeria were drawn. The principles of its policy and its diplomacy, and the principles of the Algerian Revolution, as well as the relations between the popular structures and the principles of national unity. August 20 is also the National Mujahid Day, one date, 2 different years, 2 pivotal phases of the glorious revolution of November 1st, made it possible to thwart the attempts to abort revolution. The second brought together the comrades of struggle around supreme objective, the liberation of Algeria.
The hero of the North Constantine attacks, Zihad Youssef, will be immortalized in a mega movie, of which the official kickoff was given on Friday. Najah Tayyar telling us more.
On the double anniversary of the Northern Constantine attacks and the Somam Congress, the Minister of Mujahideen gave the official kick-off of the mega movie retracing the heroic career of Zihad Youssef. Today we are commemorating a very momentous day for the Algerians. That is the National Day of the Mujahid, that marks 2 significant and basic stages in the Algerian history, which first of them is the Northern Constantine attacks and their architect and leader and hero Zihad Youssef, may he rest in peace, and the second is the Somam Congress. The efforts deployed are to implement the instructions of the President of the Republic regarding the maintenance of the national heritage. Many movie parts are expected to be filmed in the Maltese hometown, while numerous scenes would be filmed in several eastern cities of the country. The complete movie will be ready in a few months from now. We could not start such a project in another day rather than this historical day. It is an honorable start and the preparation will begin. We hope that the movie will meet the high expectations of the audience. The character of the martyr is very complicated and heavy. The lead role, Ali, believes that despite the difficulty of the acting of the role, this performance will be an added value to his career. The character is very great and complicated. A person who sacrifices his life in exchange for others in the present and the future is a character that takes huge effort to depict. The movie Ziud Youssef will be a shining masterpiece that honors Algeria and the Algerian history.
Following the wildfires in the east of the country that claimed 37 lives and injured more than 200 people, the efforts continue to take care of the victims with the participation of civil society. It is in this context that the Caravan of Solidarity of Algerian Red Crescent arrived Friday to El Taraf province. It is made of 60 tons of elementary products and medical equipment, ambulances, vehicles, and other basic items. Civil society is mobilized across the four corners of the country. In addition to Algerian Red Crescent and Muslim Scouts, dozens of associations have launched caravans of solidarity that keep heading to the fire-hit areas with tons of foodstuffs and basic products. Forest agents, firefighters, and the National People's Army displayed a great deal of bravery and devotion in accomplishing their noble duty of extinguishing wildfires. Najah Tayyar once again.
The forest agents are on war footing, especially during this period of high heat. This has been the case since May, with the installation of the National Commission for the Protection of Forests a month in advance. Despite that, a lot has been implemented to avoid last year's scenario. The last fires claimed 37 lives, caused the injury of dozens, and destroyed several hectares of forests, according to the latest report. Even though the fires have been completely extinguished, the elements of the Forest Directorate and all the participants involved in the fight against fires remained vigilant. The risk does still exist, and vigilance cells have also been set up. Until now, the statistics indicate that more than 18,000 hectares of brushwood and some 800 hectares of forest have been ravaged in the provinces of Taraf, Stif, Soqahras, Jidel, Skikda, and Tipaza. The assessment shows a noticeable decrease comparing to the last year's review of same period, which the Forest Services explained by the Efficiency of Awareness campaign, which started in April in collaboration with various departments. Without forgetting the night patrols every weekend from 5 p.m. to 6 a.m. as a part of the operational system put on site. In order to reduce the risk of forest fires and to minimize the damage, the General Directorate of Forests had put in place a firefighting strategy based essentially on early warning, rapid intervention, and synergy between the participants and citizens and associations of forest resources through broad awareness campaigns. The opening and the preparation of forest roads, the cleaning of roadsides, the establishment of 402 observation towers, 240 intervention vehicles, and 3,261 water points to facilitate the extinguishing operation in fire outbreak, and the setting up of the free call number on 1070 to report any fire emergencies. The General Directorate of Forests has deployed all its means for the preservation of human lives and the forest wealth of the country.
Internationally, a 58-year-old Palestinian was shot dead Friday morning and another injured, and 5 arrested by the Zionist occupation forces in the cities of Tubas and Tamun. As a reminder, a Palestinian died of his injury Thursday after he was shot during attacks by the Zionist forces, which carried out a vast arrest campaign among Palestinians. They also closed all the offices of 7 non-governmental organizations opened mainly to defend human rights and prisoners in the occupied West Bank. According to the Palestinian Health Ministry, more than 130 Palestinians fell martyrs, including 82 in the occupied West Bank and 50 in Gaza Strip. In Morocco, updates in the case of the migrant tragedy of Melilla, June 24th. According to the Moroccan Association of Human Rights, a court of Nador sentenced 13 African migrants of 2.5 years in prison, accompanied by a fine of 10,000 dirhams. The association describes the sentence as very severe against asylum seekers and stresses that the provisions confirm once again how in Morocco the judicial system is mobilized against the simple migrants in the service of immigration policies. Still in Morocco, where the situation is getting complicated, the purchasing power of citizens is declining and the Makhzen regime continues to ignore the citizens' demands for a decent life. More details with Anya Al-Bahri.
From now on, Moroccans no longer know where to turn. The reality of poverty sticks to all citizens. The rise in food and fuel prices had a big impact on purchasing power. Today, many Moroccans can no longer meet their needs. Despite numerous organized protests, the Makhzen regime continues to ignore all the demands of the people and rejects all solutions that could improve the living conditions of the inhabitants. Oil and vegetables prices are very expensive. Basic needs aren't affordable. As you can see, the market is almost empty. We want them to lower the prices of gasoline and take care of these people. Everything is expensive, including the vegetables and fruits. The Moroccan people want at all costs to overthrow tyranny. The situation is getting more and more complicated day by day, and the Moroccans do not seem ready to give up. They will continue their fight till the end. I'm a worker. I have 3 children. My house rent is very expensive. I had 2 months working without getting paid, and yesterday I got sick and couldn't find money to be treated, so I borrowed money. The socio-economic situation continues to deteriorate. The key sectors of education, health and employment are far from meeting the expectations and aspirations of the Moroccan people.
The western city of Masghanem is getting ready to host the Under-17 Arab Football Championship. Slated from August 23rd to September 8th, the national team will face in Group A Sudan, United Arab Emirates and Palestine. The opening game will bring together the Desert Warriors with the Palestinian side at the Sikh Stadium in Mascara. That was it for our English news program. Thank you for watching. Have a good night.